Hello everybody, Jose Rodriguez here. Yeah, I have been taking it easy the last few weeks during this pandemic situation at home. We do go out every once in a while to do errands and whatever, but I just haven't really had the energy to do any videos. I do have a few topics that I need to be covering, and I'm going to probably save it until tomorrow for the live stream. Today being Saturday, I don't know whether I will upload this tonight or even tomorrow morning. We'll see. Anyway, so I just want to warn you folks that it's going to be a little bit slower during these days. And I'll try to do as many as I can. But again, it might be 2 to 3 max a week. This one is pertaining to Epson. And I often get, told, hey, you concentrate so much with Canon printers. Why don't you talk about Epson printers? Well, Epson printers are basically not in the limelight right now. The P800 doesn't allow you to use third-party systems or inks because of the lock on the firmware. There are some options. The P400 allows you, but again, it's not a super popular printer. I don't know too many people that even have one or have contacted me asking questions about the P400, which is basically like the R2000 that I do have, and I really haven't used it too much lately. The P600, however, is the equivalent of an R3000, and that one is not locked, but I have heard some horror stories about people updating their firmware, and all of a sudden they cannot use their third-party products. Yeah. So hopefully, because you guys are all at home, you're putting your printers to good use. I did recently print a bunch of prints on this one for a friend, and hopefully you guys are able to do the same. I know that inks cost money, but if you are frugal like I am and have figured out ways to use OEM but from other sources, such as the 700 milliliter cartridges that I have a link for in my descriptions, you will cut down your costs and it'll be, not such a burden on your finances, and still be able to then exercise your printers like you should be. But sometimes life just gets in the way and you may have to put away your printer for like a year. So what do? Well, some of the die ink Canon printers can probably withstand that bit of a vacation, if you will. You could conceivably wrap it up in a plastic bag and seal it. Come back a year later, unseal it, open it back up. It may actually work. It will run a large cleaning cycle, but it will probably be okay. Maybe a couple of cleaning cycles later, it will be firing on all cylinders. But not so with Epson printers. So you got to come up with a way to prepare your printers for long-term storage. And in this case, it has to be, and this is emphasis on has to be, a printer that allows you to use third-party products. Like I mentioned, P800, yeah, but there are some ways to get around that. There's always the chip decoder board, and of course the chipless solution firmware that will allow you to use third-party products. But I'm talking about the other printers that you may have that have no problem using such products and cartridges. You need to use a product called Piezo Flush, Piezo, and the word flush, but all together. It's from Inkjet Mall. It is a solution of proprietary formula that I have no clue what it is. And it is intended not only for performing cleaning of really clogged print heads, but also for preparing your printer for long-term storage. And the way you do that is that you have to flush out every bit of the original ink that you had in the system. And since these printers have ink lines and internal dampers, you have to then really run numerous cleaning cycles to flush out any ink that was presently inside the printer and have nothing but that solution in the system. At that point, you can then turn it off, pull the plug, put it away, and you should be okay. I would suggest also wrap it in a bag. and then come back later and then replace it with inks of your choice, and then flush out all of the piezo flush out, and then run a nozzle check, and you should have a perfectly good working printer. The beauty about piezo flush is that it does not dry. Okay, even if you were to just maybe on a older R2000 or any Epson printer, it has to be Epson, that uses cartridges that ride on top of the printhead, you could conceivably just flush out the system, remove the cartridges, store it in a bag, and it will be fine. That printhead will not dry up. Okay, it will be just as pliable as it was before when you run again with new inks, of course, say a year or two even down the road. Okay, this is what I have heard from Inkjet Mold themselves and their technical staff. That's how they prepare printers when they have to be stored for long periods of time. Now, how do you go about doing that? Well, you need some refillable cartridges. And this solution is not cheap. It's around 30 something dollars for about 200 and something milliliters of that solution. It is bright pink. It is clear. You load your cartridges. You're going to need a lot. But again, think of what you're doing. You're actually storing your printer, where normally, under any other condition, it will be useless by the time you came back to revive it. It might be clogged beyond any help. So in order to prevent that, you have to spend some money up front. Fill up those cartridges at least halfway, maybe. I don't know how much you really need to flush out the system. You could always add more as needed, and then run cleaning cycles, and then perform nozzle checks to make sure that the nozzle checks are not showing color. When they show nothing but pink, that means that all of the ink has been flushed out of the printer, and you're ready to then leave them on and store it. Okay, the same thing with a regular non-stationary cartridge Epson printer. The same procedure. You just run your cleaning cycles until the printhead is producing nothing but pink results on your nozzle check. Okay, at that point, turn it off, store it. When you come back, you have to have a set of either filled freshly with new ink cartridges, refillables if that's what you want to use, or original OEM cartridges. Pop them in, run cleaning cycles followed by nozzle checks to monitor the advance of the new ink through the system. When it is now printing full color, yellow, magenta, cyan, and black, then you're good to go. At that point, you should have 100% nozzle check, and the printer should be fine as can be. Again, it'll probably ask you, why did you ignore me for a year and a half? Yeah, maybe. I don't know. It could be. All right. I hope that helped. I hope that cleared up any kind of questions you may have had about long-term storage. This is a subject that hardly ever comes up, but sometimes it does. And people have jobs overseas or wherever. Not so much now, but when things were better. And they want to know how to put away a printer for longer than just a few weeks. All right. Thank you so much. Don't forget to subscribe, share, and like. And as always, happy printing, everyone. Bye-bye.